Big update in 4 days with Clan Wars. So I'm going to do a Clan Wars tier list. You guys let me know if you agree with this or not. I think we have 2 defensive teams and 4 offensive teams. And it's going to be fun because we can see what the defense is. Much love to all my supporters. Netmarble, Reset, all the supporters for the new season. You have to go back and reapply. Very soon we'll have the new supporter gift of 10 summons, 100 stamina, and 100,000 gold. Doesn't matter what Morgan you use. Flame Morgan, Frost Morgan. Frost Morgan can remove buffs. Her skill 3 can increase somebody's attack gauge by 70%. So if you want to zone in and your Morgan's fast, she can make your Iwort go first and do a lot of damaging. Or you could use her in her Storm Relic, where she can do decreased defense. She can even do sleep and heal block on that skill 3. So Morgan obviously is going to be in one of the teams. She is top tier when it comes to PvP and the whole entire game. On my second team, I'll probably have Clarisin to come in there and increase our attack gauge by 40% with that skill 2, and I think she has to have Chivalry 3. It's too powerful. Our whole team gets to go before their team. She has the second best base speed behind Morgan, and she's got a lot of other utility and damage. Sergius Flame, 60% increase in our attack gauge. His base speed is nowhere near as good as Morgan or Clarisin, but it's very, very powerful. So I know my other team, my third team, will probably have him in it. Then we've got Claudus. A lot of people don't think Claudus is that good, but in this situation, giving the whole entire team increased attack speed, knocking back the attack gauge of the enemy, and she does have other control abilities as well. I think she's going to play very good in Clan Wars. Gillian, knocking back the enemy's attack gauge, increasing our attack gauge, massive heals, and then on her Storm Relic, you can get some really good buffs with that skill 3. Some of the other relics have control. And then I'm going to have somebody with control on my team, especially if I'm not facing off against Guinevere. Even Baldwin doesn't really scare me because it doesn't trigger that often, and then it goes on cooldown, and even Jack the Uncommon, his will trigger and then go on a long cooldown as well. Control is going to be very important. We've got a speed lead with Lancelot. If you have his Frost Relic, AoE freeze. We've got AoE freeze right here with his base relic with Merlin. We've got a lot of other abilities he can do with his other relics. It's going to be fun playing Merlin. He's actually going to have a lot of play in these 4 different offensive teams we're going to have. Lot has been so much fun. Lot can do Oblivion, but he can also do a lot of other abilities with his passives. When you attack the first person, when you zone in, you brainwash them. It's really funny watching the main DPS get brainwashed and then killing one of their allies, but be careful. Additional abilities like Iwort's additional hit that hits the whole team will not hit the enemy team. Iwort will go and attack one and then will do damage to your whole team. If you do Bedivere, he's going to attack somebody. If his passive is up, he's going to hit that passive on your team. And then if you have that person that's brainwashed attacked Anya, she's going to counterattack and hit your team. So it's cool, but you just got to be careful with it sometimes. Lot brings a lot of other utility. I'm having so much fun playing Lot in PvP right now. This guy, Florentius, he's got an AoE silence, 50% chance to silence the enemy, the whole entire enemy team. That'll be very powerful, as well as some of his other relics can freeze and cause oblivion. So that's going to be strong. Arduin, turning everyone into rabbits. Plus, she can counterattack with that ability. And if you have her skill 2 maxed out, you don't need it maxed out. But if you have it maxed out, we're talking about a crazy amount of additional damage and more chances to turn people into rabbits. I'm going to use her quite a bit. Kalish, I think is the name. 51% chance to freeze or root. I'll probably have her in one of my teams. I don't know about Gareth yet. With that big AoE bind, does it work? Like, does it stay bind? Or if they take damage, they fall out of it? If that's the case, then you come in there with single target damage and you keep everyone bound. Plus, she has a lot of other control abilities. I don't see why this wouldn't work. And remember, we're not fighting against a team of Anyas and Morgans every single time. They have to have different defensive teams, maybe even different defensive teams than their offensive team. We don't know yet, so it's not going to be facing off against the same defense. We're going to have to come up with alternatives because we can't use the same heroes. Clementine, I have her at about 400% attack with all the increased accuracy, but it's nowhere near the damage that Anya does, but she does knock back the attack gauge. As long as you do that skill 3, she falls asleep. We can stop her from falling to sleep with Jillian, with Guinevere, with people that remove abnormal status immunity. So you can have her do it more often. It is strong, and I think it's going to be really fun on one of your 4 teams. I don't even think you have to have that Chivalry 8. Only thing Chivalry 8 does is it makes a 10% chance whenever your allies attack for her to trigger it again. It's strong and it's fun, but it doesn't happen that often. Nicholas, this guy does not get a lot of love, but he does have one ability, if you have it maxed out, 3 vigor cost at a 50% chance to taunt 4 random people. Will that be worth it? Could be. If there's not a lot of AoE on the other team and you can get into stealth, you can taunt a lot of other people and do some damage. So he will be fun, especially if the other team doesn't have AoE. Or if they do have one main AoE person like Clarisin and she's doing her skill 2 all the time, take her out, kill her. Once she's done, this guy can take over. He can be very strong if there's no AoE. Before the battle starts, Alan will put slow speed on 2 random enemies, then he can knock back the attack gauge on that skill 2, or he can use his skill 3 to put slow speed on the whole entire team. So Alan could be an option, obviously not the strongest option, but not everybody's got the same roster. The rest is set up in somewhat of a tier list format. Obviously Morgan overpowered, Anya overpowered, Tauren Flame. If you don't have her Flame Relic, look for it every single day. This is a give me win. If you can see the defense and you know you have maybe a turn or 2 to get up buffs, once she does her evasion buff, you've got it won. Sigrun, very powerful skill 3, especially with her Storm Relic. It's got the highest multipliers. You can really do some serious damage and be extremely tanky with her. Clarisin, we talked about, Lot, Lancelot. Then we have Iwert. Iwert can do a crazy amount of damage, even if you don't do Iwert skill 3. If you just do Iwert skill 1, you're still going to activate the passive that's going to hit the whole entire team. And if you have up Mark from the passive of coming into the battle, you're going to do even more damage. Iwert has a lot of play. Obviously, Bedivere skill 2 on the Frost Relic. We already went over Jillian. We already went over Merlin, Sergius, and Florentine. God tier minus, we didn't talk about Arthur. I just did a video yesterday on Arthur versus Gilroy. Go watch that. You'll see what Arthur can do. He's going to be on a couple of my teams. Ardwin, yes, on my team. Cormac, we've seen all the videos. Yes, on your team. I think Gawain's going to have a place for our team. I think with that new buff that he got, all the damage he can do, he's going to be a really good AoE damage dealer. Claudius, we talked about. Kay's going to be able to solo some teams depending on how good your substats are with evasion. You can have an evasion orb. She has evasion of 40% buff. Then you get those substats, you get her really high with evasion. You don't even need Flame Torn on your team. And she's going to be able to solo a lot of teams. With Chivalry 8 and high enough evasion, she's going to solo them. Dodge, 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 take turn after turn, and just win. I don't know if you want to put counterattack set on her or a lifesteal set. As long as you get her evasion high enough, I don't even think it's going to matter. She's going to be able to not be hit and then just put out some serious damage. Gilroy can do damage and can heal block. Are we going to need him? It just depends on what you're faced off against. I don't really even know if I'd put him at God tier minus. Maybe I'd put him at excellent because he's very situational. I'm going to use Tristan because he has insane burst damage. And if they have anything with protection on the other team with his Chivalry 8, he's going to do even more damage. But he's only going to do damage for a short burst. So if it's going to be a long fight, then I'm not going to bring Tristan in. I want him to come in and kill and then be done. I'm not really sure about Círdan. I know she has a lot of control and she can extend control, abnormal status immunity. We probably should have put her up here under control. It's going to be fun to play her. I really believe that control is going to be massive. If we can oblivion someone or confuse them to attack their allies, fear them, knock back their attack gauge, which is all things that she does, as well as her Chivalry 8 to do a big AoE attack. As long as there's one abnormal status on the enemy, she could have some serious play in clan wars. We've got Rosier. I mean, she's just great everywhere. Doesn't matter what relic, especially if you have it maxed out to do more damage. She is very powerful. Down here at the excellent ones, you guys let me know. I really haven't tried to do Ralph as full damage yet. Now I'm going to do that. I'm building him this way. full defense, everybody dies, Ralph comes in there and just kills the enemy team. That could happen. Urians, I don't know what happens when he gets low. When he gets really low and you can only do 1 damage to him over and over, if he's counterattacking with that flame relic, applying decreased defense as well as, doing damage, it could be good. And it should be good, especially since we can see the defense. So maybe we'll have some good matchups with Urians. Boris can give your team counterattack on a 4-turn cooldown, so maybe I'll use him with Ardwin. That's if you have his Chivalry 3 or 4. He can do some limited taunting. When somebody's attacked, he can do taunting on his skill 2, so there might be play with him. Bond is just fast, very survivable. If you have Bond leveled up, obviously he can be one of your DPSers. Same thing with Anguish, DPS. He gets increased accuracy, increased attack buffs to himself, and he can do some good damage on that skill 3 if you have it maxed out in Frost. And then we've got a healer here with Vivian, and then situational. You know the situationals, I would think by now. We've got Guinevere. If you want to stop abnormal status immunity, get resistance buffs on your team, use Guinevere. Baldwin, I don't think I'm going to play Baldwin at all. Probably not going to play the Shark Beborn. He can give you increased defense, increased attack, increased speed, depending on what relic you use, but I don't see myself needing him in a team. Isolde for healing with her skill 3 on her Flame or Storm. I just don't think I'm going to really use her that often. And then, of course, we've got combos down here. It would have to be a really good team for me to come in there and be confident to bring Dejaret and Bulk in, to get 60% increase in attack gauge like I would do with Flame Sergius. This could work if you have a very strong team and you can take control right away and start rolling with that increase, or if they have somebody on their team like Rosier and you're going to get a few dots on you. If there's going to be dots spread around, which I don't know who else would apply a lot of dots, then yeah, bring in Dejaret. Get that 60% turn meter increase and remove those dots, and it gives you a little small crit rate buff. You might not even need to bring in Bulk. Sarah's Chivalry 8 to make sure that all Serpent's favors attack gauge cannot be knocked back for 1 turn. Probably won't even need to use it because we won't be fighting always against Morgans. We won't be fighting against other people that can knock back the attack gauge. It's only for that 1 turn when you start, and it's for Serpent's favor. It's strong and it's fun if you play it with Morgan, if you play it with Iwert, if you play it with Clarisin, but I'm going to have a lot of those heroes broken up in different teams. And since we can see the defense, I probably won't need to use this combo. Maybe. It's still a good combo. You guys let me know your thoughts on this tier list down below. Are you ready for Clan Wars? Do you think this is going to be exciting? Are you ready to make all these different teams? Even if you're free to play, I'm sure you have a lot of heroes leveled up. And of course, you're going to be faced off against other people that have similar accounts, so it should be pretty fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate your time, your love, and your support. I will see you all in a video soon.